Hello, my beautiful buds. Welcome back to my channel, Sprouts with Joy. My name is Joy, and if you'd like to talk about plants, you're in the right place. Every single month, I love to talk about my favorite plants of that month, and now it's time for October favorites. Today, the day that I'm filming this, was the first day when I felt truly cold. It's just sort of a slightly bittersweet season because on the one hand, I'm loving the fall vibes, I'm loving the pumpkins everywhere and the fall flavors and the upcoming holidays, and it's an exciting time of year. The point is, we're nearing the end of October and we have some plants that I need to talk about. Goodness, I wasn't even in the mood to talk when I started filming this video, and the second I start yapping, I'm just like, I just start rambling. I don't understand it. I actually do have one more caveat to make about this video. The last video that should have gone up before this one, I unboxed a bunch of plants from a plant trade, and I'm obsessed with those plants right now. Like, those are actually the plants I'm most excited about, but I refrained from putting those plants that I just got in this video because I literally just showed them to you guys and literally just talked about them, and I don't really have anything new to say about them considering they just got added to my collection. So if you want to see that video, I will link it, but just know those are the plants I'm actually the most excited about. But the plants I'm going to talk about now, I also am liking. Does that make sense? So let's begin, I guess. Okay, so this first plant, I felt like I had featured it in a favorites video like super recently. And I know that in general, I do tend to talk about it a lot, and I try to not repeat plants too much for these favorites videos because I feel like that could get boring and I want to share the love among all my plants. But I went back and checked and I featured this back in June. So June to October, I feel like that's not too bad, right? But okay, trust me, there's a good reason. All right. You may have already seen one of the leaves pop up on the frame. I don't know. This is my Hoya polyneura, and goodness, you guys, I couldn't not include this in my favorites because I'm gonna give you a little peek. Okay, so look at that. Okay, beautiful, right? I mean, it's blooming for me and I'm obsessed with these blooms. This plant has bloomed for me once before, but just you wait because I've got more. And I think there's more actually. Yep, over here. More! Oh my gosh. I'm gonna cry. I don't know why I'm all of a sudden so emotional about this. I was not this emotional 5 minutes ago. I feel so honored that this plant is blooming so much for me. Just overnight, all of a sudden, all these peduncles just activated, and it's got loads of active blooms and a bunch that are also literally about to bloom, right there too. Okay, actually give me a second. I need to go through and count these. I haven't even counted how many there are because I'm just in shock. Okay. Okay, I definitely could have miscounted, but it looks like I have 4 active blooms. They are open and beautiful. There's 4 of these, and I've got 5 that are like this, where they're not quite open, but they are on the cusp of opening. I mean, I don't know if there's a term for the intermediate between the time that it's a peduncle and the time that it blooms. So these are literally about to bloom, you know, very, very soon. So oh, here's actually another one. So this might be 6. This is a little bit less mature than the other peduncles, but that's gonna be 6. So that makes it 10 total. I've had 1 bloom on this plant in the past, and that was a couple months ago. And I was so excited about that because are these blooms not so gorgeous? But now all of a sudden it's just happy enough and mature enough, I guess, to give me 10 right now. And I am so honored and flabbergasted, and I'm so happy about this. I'm trying to decide if this has a smell. It definitely starts to smell more in the evening, and it's not quite the evening yet. I don't know, it mostly just smells like a plant. I smelled it yesterday and I felt like there was a hint of spice. I don't think it's cinnamon. I could be gaslighting myself into thinking there's like a cinnamon underlying tone. As of right now, like there isn't like a strong scent, but man, like, oh my gosh. But I mean, yeah, frankly, I adore my Hoya polyneura in general. Like I love the foliage of the plant. It's just so beautiful and it has grown exceedingly well for me. But I mean, the primary reason clearly that it's on my favorites list right now is just all of these blooms. And they're such beautiful blooms. Like they're very different from any of the other blooms that I've gotten from other Hoya in the past. Like these flowers are a lot bigger compared to some of the other blooms that I've gotten. They're really plump and juicy and they last a long time. Like I think it's my Hoya chicken farm. The bloom on that lasts for like a day and then it's gone completely. But these, I feel like they last several days, maybe even a week after opening up, which I love. I love the fact that they're long lasting. The next plant on my favorites list is my Alocasia Meliana, or persa Meliana is another name for it that I think is technically the scientific name, but most people know it still as a calathea. And let's just take a moment to appreciate her beauty. Like, this is one of my favorite of the Mariontiaceae family, I think. I mean, I don't know, like I oscillate a lot. I have a number of them that I really enjoy and really like, but this one, especially the way that it grows, it just is so full and kind of bushy and the leaves are really pretty. I mean, they remind me of a peacock, like they're so fun. But the main reason that this is on my favorites list is that it's on the upswing. It's actually happy with me, which makes me happy with it. So for some background, this plant is a plant that kind of goes through cycles where sometimes it's honestly really thriving. Like right now, it's putting out lots of new growth. So right now, yeah, we're in a thriving point in the cycle. We've got 2 new leaves down here. Then we also have just multiple new leaves throughout the whole rest of the plant. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to fully point out all of them, but just trust me that there are several and some of them are like newly unfurled and that sort of thing, which frankly is super exciting for me because previously, just a couple months ago, this plant was in the negative part of its cycle, I guess, where a lot of leaves die off or it just has like a limp look to it. And you know, the rest of the time it's just neutral and isn't growing very much and isn't losing leaves, but isn't really thriving either. But occasionally this plant goes through a season like this where it's just so happy. It's putting out tons of new growth and is really like perked up. And you know, I just want to point it out and enjoy it while it lasts because I know this plant. We have a rhythm. I understand this plant kind of, I mean, I understand it in the way that like I can predict what's about to happen and not freak out when something bad happens because I just have grown accustomed to its whims. But I've learned to appreciate just the characteristics of this plant, love it for what it is, and have patience during the seasons where it's not cooperating. I think about a month ago or a month and a half ago, maybe, it really did decline quite a bit. And it was just doing that thing where like the edges of the leaves were curled in, even though like I knew that I didn't think that I had overwatered it and I hadn't underwatered it either. But I just went ahead and kind of dug into the root system a little bit, which I'm kind of hesitant to bother the root systems of these plants sometimes because I know that they can be a little bit on the sensitive side. But I found that sometimes like the root systems tend to really gather on the bottom of the plant, like the bottom of the soil rather than being evenly dispersed. So it kind of helps for me to loosen them up a little bit on the bottom and then add another layer of soil on the bottom so that, you know, the roots themselves aren't what's touching the bottom because it didn't need like a full proper repot. It just needed a buffer, I guess, for the roots, I think is what happened. I could be wrong, but like I've done this 2 or 3 times now, and every time it takes a couple weeks, but the plant completely bounces back and is happy again and starts growing again. So that's just my personal experience with this plant in particular. But I've noticed that behavior with some of my persa in particular. So I don't know. It's just, I guess that's like one little random weird quirky tip that if for some reason they're like completely declining, specifically like the leaves are curling in and behaving as if you haven't watered them when you definitely have, maybe just check out the root system and make sure that It's nothing wonky is going on. But okay, believe it or not, we're talking about yet another Persa. And this is my Persa ornata. And I mean, honestly, very similar experience with this plant versus the Makana. Whereas this one, you know, I feel like it doesn't decline so much as it just stagnates and will sit the same number of leaves for the longest time. And then all of a sudden it goes to like a little growth spurt, and we're in a growth spurt era right now, which is very fun because, okay, lately the leaves that this plant has been giving me, hang on, I'm gonna need to pause because there's some construction happening. One moment. Okay, we're back. What was I even saying? I think I was talking about like how large the leaves have been on this plant. So, okay, this is the newest, or one of the newest leaves right here. Honestly, massive, like whoa, crazy. And there's another new leaf emerging right now. And I can usually expect with this plant, if I'm getting new leaves, I'll usually get like 4 of them at once. And you know, I lose leaves kind of as you would normally with other plants, hence why this isn't like an insanely bushy plant or anything, but the leaves that I do have on this plant are so breathtaking. Like, oh my gosh, they're huge. I honestly can't believe it. So yeah, Persa ornata, I love this plant. This I think was actually, this was one of my first house plants. I think it was maybe in the first like 15 that I got maybe. And of those 15, I don't have a lot of them still, I don't think. So this is one of the few that have actually made it, believe it or not, like this whole time, which is honestly quite fun and impressive. And while I don't always give it like the love and attention that it probably deserves for sticking around for so long, I did want to just like acknowledge it and acknowledge the fact that it's on the upswing, that it's currently in a growing phase for me, and that just makes me really happy. Last but not least, I do want to talk about this little alocasia here. It's just so cute and I can't stop looking at it. So this is an Alocasia Meliana that I grew from corm because my husband has an Alocasia Meliana that he keeps in his office. That's his plant, not my plant. But while I was repotting it, I went ahead and nabbed a couple of corms, and that was a few months ago, probably at the beginning of the summer is my guess, but it very quickly sprouted and I went ahead and potted it up in this little jar. It's no drainage, just has some leca at the bottom. And honestly, it's doing great. And it's got 5 leaves. But honestly, I think the thing that I love the most about it, do you see how in the light here, it's like the way that it's shimmering, it almost looks like satin. I'm obsessed with that. Like this specifically, this is the one thing that I am loving and it's just been catching my eye because I have this in front of a grow light. So every time I look at it, it has this really satin look to the leaves. And I just think it's so cute. I know that that's sort of like a short and sweet thing. And honestly, you know, it's rewarding to grow plants from the time that they're little babies, and I'm excited to watch this grow over the course of the future. I'm sure it's going to get quite large eventually, but for now it's in its baby phase and I'm really excited about it, and I'm obsessed with the way that it looks right now. It's like those baby leaves have that little finish to them that are so pretty. I'm just, I'm obsessed. So honestly, that's it for that. I love it. Well, I think that's gonna be it for this video. I feel like this was a little bit of a shorter one than normal, but probably for the best because I'm honestly feeling so tired. If you have watched any of my recent videos, you would know that I'm very, very tired and sleep deprived right now. I'm in a bit of a tough season of life, but we're persevering, okay? So it's gonna be okay. But yeah, if you have any favorite plants of yours to share in the comments down below, I'd love to hear about it. The construction is still happening. Yeah, if you liked this video, please feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe. All those things are super helpful for my channel. And I just need to sign off before the construction continues. Okay, bye.